Pedro Pascal is the internet's daddy, and women of all ages are crazy about him.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro
Pascal.
He's a sex symbol and a serious actor in one friendly but unknowable, cuddly but slightly dangerous package. He's playful in person but can get intense on screen, and that's why he has landed roles in legendary IPs like Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and now the Marvel Universe as Reed Richards. But how did this man, this migrant from a war-torn Chile, manage to become one of the most famous and well-loved men in all of Hollywood? What is the secret to his charm that bewitches anyone who watches him on screen? Is it because he's so grounded that he takes economy flights to film festivals and fan events? Or is it because he is just a little kid on the inside who wants to be taken care of?
Take care of me.
Well, let's find out. So Pedro Pascal's story spans continents and decades of hard work. Born in Santiago, Chile in 1975, he was just a baby when his parents, who by the way were young college-educated liberals, fled Pinochet's dictatorship. In a scene like some sort of political thriller, an infant Pedro climbed into the Venezuelan embassy in Santiago with his family to demand asylum. The family settled in San Antonio, Texas, and later Orange County, California. Pedro grew up bilingual, moving around a lot with his family, and he credits childhood trips to the movies for kindling his passion for acting. His dad absolutely loved cinema, so that love was a big part of his world from early on.
We were young and figuring stuff out, and that meant taking us to the movies like 3 times a week.
Later, he studied theatre at NYU's Tisch School in the 1990s and spent years working off Broadway and on TV bit parts, which is how in his early career he even appeared on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Touched by an Angel.
Everybody was dying to be on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So when I got season 4 premiere episode, I couldn't believe it. I just knew how badly everybody wanted to get on this show. So freshly out of school to get on it, I was like, well, I'm shooting to the top. And then I died after one scene. And we shot it on the UCLA campus. It was a night shoot. I was actually doing a play in Long Beach. And I had to miss the opening night. An understudy had to learn the part in just a couple of days and go on for me because there was no way I could say no to doing this.
But with Buffy, his journey had just about started. Pedro's big break didn't come until mid-career. He kept at it through 2 decades of struggling actor work. His face became familiar from memorable supporting roles such as the charming Prince Oberyn Martell on Game of Thrones.
That's not a monster, I told Cersei. That's just a baby.
And DEA agent Javier on Netflix's Narcos. These roles put him on Hollywood's radar and led to lead parts on huge franchises. By 2019, he was cast as Din Djarin in The Mandalorian, and in 2023 as Joel in HBO's The Last of Us. Both series were instant hits, making Pedro one of today's most recognizable actors. And you of course know that he's also played Reed Richards aka Mr. Fantastic in Marvel's Fantastic Four First Steps, and apart from this, he's also tapped to appear in Avengers Doomsday, which stars RDJ as Dr. Doom. In interviews, he often sounds like an everyday guy reflecting on this journey, which he is, and reminds me of Mark Ruffalo, who is also a people's person, so much so that you can see him attending protests and whatnot. Pedro often jokes that he wasn't interested in challenging himself, then lists huge challenges he did embrace. For example, he spent a full year filming The Last of Us in the bitter Alberta winter, and he once went toe-to-toe acting opposite his idol Nicolas Cage in the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Paddington 2.
What?
I cried through the entire thing. It made me want to be a better man.
Bullshit.
Paddington 2 is incredible.
I fucking told you.
When he hosted Saturday Night Live, Pedro quipped that the experience was all of those challenges stuffed into 1 week, and then grinned, "I could not have had a better time." These efforts paid off, earning him a SAG award and nominations for both the Golden Globe and Emmy for The Last of Us, among other accolades. He even called joining the Marvel Universe an actor's dream, thrilled to play a classic hero who values optimism and heart. Now let's talk about what makes him feel like someone from the crowd, someone who feels like a friend or family. Off camera, Pedro's charm and humility have been incomparable. He's known as a grand raconteur, a storyteller who punctuates tales with big gestures and funny voices. And I'm not making it up. A Vanity Fair profile noted that he tells stories with his hands and uses funny voices.
Why are you calling me Hannah? Who are ya?
And that he loves to swear, sip cocktails, and even joke about murdering a cheese plate. All signs he isn't taking himself too seriously, which shows how down to earth and grounded he is.
People say a lot of things.
You got a name?
It's a me. Mario.
He can laugh loudly one moment and get misty-eyed the next. His insides are on his outsides and he cries easily and laughs loudly with no guard on.
What has been the strangest gift you've received from a fan?
Just a human head.
And that's the mark of a beautiful mind. That openness makes him instantly likable. He often jokes about how dads adore him for playing protective figures on screen. Even his co-stars praise his warmth. For instance, The Last of Us creator Craig Mazin was quoted saying Pedro had a big heart bursting inside that chest of his after watching him. And friend Oscar Isaac said anyone who saw Pedro on SNL would fall in love with him because you can feel that big heart. Pasadena's Vanessa Kirby likewise says his allure is his immense vulnerability. Here you can see her holding his hand to stop him from getting anxious because of the crowd and all that attention. Kirby later explained that he doesn't have much armor. He reveals himself straight away and makes people trust him by being so open. Pedro's kindness extends to fans too. He always stops to greet people, doing a full 180 if a group of fans calls out ready for selfies and kind words. In fact, he even got himself an eye infection because of how he let people click selfies with him with their thumbs in his eyes because of how he died in Game of Thrones. Yet he maintains eye contact, connects personally and sends each fan away happy. Reporters have noted he even took economy flights to fanfare after a video went viral of Pedro walking through coach class on the way to Cannes Film Festival, chatting with strangers. Look at this cartoon. Believe it or not, this New Yorker cartoon was about this running joke among fans where they were joking that their faith in humanity was riding on whether or not Pedro Pascal truly is as nice as he appears. Pedro tends to shrug these legends off, but he genuinely seems happiest when people around him are happy. These qualities show in how he handles success. He is famously too humble to brag. For example, when complimented on his performance in The Last of Us, he immediately deflected praise and started talking about the showrunners Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann and his co-star Bella Ramsey. So yeah, he refuses to highlight his own work in interviews despite doing so much of the show's emotional heavy lifting.
But if somehow I had a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
Because you're selfish.
Because I love you. In a way you can't understand.
This refusal to self-promote reveals a deep humility that's become one of his defining traits. He's also gracious with humor. On press tours, he often pokes fun at himself.
Daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm your daddy.
In a recent interview about Fantastic Four, for example, he joked that being cast alongside such stars makes him feel like the least talented in the group, a self-deprecating remark that charmingly undercuts his own star power. People who work with Pascal say he's easygoing and collaborative. Director Pedro Almodovar raved about Pascal's range when he said about Pedro, and I quote, "He can play someone solid, emotional, crafty, a cheat if necessary, warm-hearted, and he can play all those nuances with incredible ease."
I will be your champion.
Almodovar noted Pedro can be adorably sentimental and hard as nails, a great comic actor and also impenetrable if necessary. In other words, Pedro never phones it in. He brings full commitment to every tone a scene requires.
Come on. You come on. I know, baby. I know. Tommy, help me!
On press tours and behind the scenes, Pedro is down to earth. He's known to move casually among paparazzi without pretense. For The Mandalorian, he even flew economy class to events, chatting with fans on planes and in lines. He's open about his anxieties and teammates often give him space or a friendly word. When Last of Us fans started hounding co-star Caitlin Dever online, Pedro used his own Instagram to gently plead with fans to leave her alone, showing he looks out for his colleagues. One telling example is during a Fantastic Four press stop in Australia, co-star Vanessa Kirby froze at a slang term.
This is good, babe. It just means fierce.
Does it mean like
fabulous, beautiful, strong. It's good.
And Pedro calmly explained that it's a good thing. It just means powerful, it's good. He reassured her, and in that moment he was part translator, part big brother, and the world saw again how genuinely caring he is. Family remains the North Star for Pedro. He's very close to his siblings and he has like more than 30 cousins who he keeps in touch with and even does them favors. Just before hosting SNL, he flew home to New York to see his younger sister Lux perform in theatre. He talked openly about being anxious about when he'd see his sisters again since he wants to maximize the time he can spend with with them. He's also very proud of his elder sister Javiera and younger brother Nicholas, and often shares family stories in interviews. Pedro's outspokenness about LGBTQ issues and issues like the killing of children in Gaza is also a part of his personal life.
Simply asking for the right to exist in the bodies that belong to them.
His younger sister Lux is transgender, and Pedro publicly celebrated Lux when she came out in 2021. Since then, he's used his platform to support the community. He gave interviews describing transgender people as symbols of courage, saying their example inspires fear in those who are afraid to be their true selves. He's walked red carpets in t-shirts saying protect the dolls and urged others that it is important to protect trans people, calling them vulnerable, inspiring, courageous, and brave. Pedro says he cares deeply about making the world safer for those he loves. As he put it in The Last of Us, it's all about family and caring for humankind. We can only do it together. In conclusion, in every part of his life, Pedro Pascal comes across as genuine and warm. He works tirelessly and brings emotional honesty to his roles, but he also has a goofy, fun side that makes him approachable.
My ideal night out
Yeah.
is a night in.
Colleagues and fans say he has that rare big heart quality that everyone notices. As one friend said, watching Pedro is impossible without falling in love with him. You can literally feel the kindness bursting out. It may be a cliche, but for Pedro Pascal, the praise seems to fit. He truly is as nice as he seems.